Well, guys, it looks like we are live at 5:22 p.m. Australian Adelaide Standard Time. I don't know what the actual time zone is. It's like GMT plus 9:30 or something like that. And we are here to talk about Spyro Reignited, of course. We're always here to talk about Reignited. I know that this was put at like a really like hilariously bad time. JP8K, what's going on, man? I'll get back to your message after this stream. I know you've sent me something on Facebook. I shall get back to you. So we got JP8K is awake, but I could imagine not too many other people are actually awake right now. I would not be surprised if this gets like 10 people watching. But what I wanted to do is just get you guys all, I want to basically talk about some of the stuff that's come out in the last day or so. Let me just let's go live chat. There we go, so I can see everything. Good morning to anyone that's waking up in. You got people probably waking up in the UK. You probably got people that you should be up if you're in Finland or some of the sort of northern Europe. Steph Haskey definitely should not be awake at this point. At this point, you guys should be quite asleep. But what I wanted to do, as I'm sort of looping this footage around, I'm getting you guys to see this repeatedly over and over and over again before I probably end up turning it off and just going straight to like webcam solo, which is just me. What I want to do is talk about the Reignited Trilogy stuff that dropped a couple, was it maybe 10 hours ago or something like that? I believe it was a GameStop post, or not GameSpot, it might have been, either was that or Game, the other game something. And here we go, everyone's coming rolling in. 43 people at this time of day, at this time of year, localized entirely within my YouTube channel. Let's have a look. 4 a.m. in New York. Yes, it is. I know how to do that because basically it's like if it's 5:30 p.m. here, it's 4 a.m. there. That's how I know, because it's basically like plus 12 hours or whatever, minus like an hour and a half, basically like minus an hour and a half and change the AM to PM. That's how I do it. When you're in Europe and you do things with like the 1600 and 1700 hours and stuff, it's actually kind of a bit more confusing in that way. It's better to just use AM and PM. You can just sort of flip easier without having to worry about the time zone as much. GameSpot, that's the other one I was talking about. Was it GameSpot? Yeah. GameSpot. Maybe they should merge it. Well, I heard that GameStop wanted to do something, or they wanted to like merge with someone, or not merge, like be bought out or something like that, or some places. Yes, I am on the other side of the world. This accent, the reason why I sound quite upside down language is because I'm from the land the Alright, so I'm guessing that all of you have seen this footage far before me. I'm sure that's the case, and I'll probably end up just going to like full screen at some point because you guys are probably going to be sick of seeing this. So I will start talking about it in just a minute or so, and then we'll sort of start the live analysis video, which I've never really done this before, where I've just like done like basically a video live, an analysis video live, with like all the moving parts in the same spot and stuff. But I think, why not? The footage, like when it comes to quality of like Facebook and Twitter, stuff like that, I always prefer it when YouTube stuff drops, so it's easier to get things right. I didn't edit the footage at all here, but the thumbnail is debatably clickbait because I actually changed the color to see if it would match like more of the original style of the level. Amelia, you're at work. Oh, damn it. Shouldn't ask you like bloody during the stream where you work, but because I would totally make an appearance, because that's just what I do. I surprise people. I meet people all over the world. Just rock up, start live streaming, just so Amelia's from Adelaide. Like I always preference to the Adelaide fellas. Anyone that's from Adelaide, it's like I'm borderline weird. Like I know like Harry Heath, who is like another one of my subscribers. He's like, he'll comment and stuff like that, and then we'll just like start like literally during the stream. Good night, Richie. Literally during the stream, we'll just start like talking about like Adelaide inside jokes and like, oh, you're going to town, man, you're going to the Red Square, like, you know, all that kind of shit. Like, we just totally do not give a fuck. Like, that's what it's like. If you're from here, and the funny thing is, this whole like small town mentality, we're like a population of like 1.3 million. You know, like, I think like, oh, Adelaide's such a small place, and then you've got people like, you know, XX Ashley X39, who's from like small towns in Massachusetts, or like my friend Noel, or even Steph is in a small area in like a small, almost sub town. Like, it's more tantamount to a suburb, really. A lot of these people that I know, but like, yeah, in America and UK, it's like totally different. Like, their idea of small towns or small cities are far smaller than Adelaide. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway. Hey, watch an ad and like the stream. Yeah, that's what you want. That's what you want. All right, what do you think grilled dragon meat tastes like? That's the first question. I don't know. Probably beef. Yeah. Now, let's start talking about this stuff. Let's start talking about this, because we'll do the questions after. So I'll let you guys, don't put any questions yet. Just sort of think of something that you might think of, and then for like maybe 10 minutes or something like that, I'll try and answer questions. I know I'm heading over to Gravy Monster's house pretty soon. He's probably watching this stream on the way drive home. He probably is, or he's not. Ando might be even here too. I don't know. I'm going to their house later. So anyway, let's talk. Let's talk Spyro. 70 people. You want to hear it. I'm goading you in. Now I should just start extorting you guys. I'd be like, okay, $50 and I'll like say 10 words about it, 100 and I'll say like 20, you know, and so forth. And so, you know, obviously, of course, the stream ends with, you know, me flying to America to Cow Palace to go see New Japan. Anyway, let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about Spyro, finally. Sorry for holding you on for like what feels like minutes. Oh, okay, John Calder getting a bit weird in the chat there. All right, so the first things first, let's talk about Lofty Castle. Because there's Lofty Castle there. Now, it's going to keep looping and show the other level and stuff like that, because I've got this video made that does this, so apologies that it is a little bit like, you know, now you're going to see Clifftown. But let's talk about Lofty Castle. So, Lofty Castle's reception overall was lofty at best. And it was very interesting how they've changed the vibe. They've changed the skybox very clearly from the original level, right? From the original like demo that, you know, came out, the original like trailer, right? The first trailer clearly showed the level looking a lot more night, looking a lot like it was a lot more from nighttime. And I thought that was an interesting choice. And I actually didn't mind that, having it be a bit more whimsical and stuff like that, because maybe you can do magical colors more and weird lighting and stuff like that. Maybe you can. Then looking at this footage here, when you see how it's changed, it's very much of a pastel aesthetic, the original game. Very pastel-y, very light, very whimsical. A bit like Magic Crafters, but more dreamy. You following? So that's what I quite liked about the original level. The footage that dropped today, it's weird, because overall I'm pretty positive on Reignited. Like, if you look at what I have to say, I'm a positive guy. I'm happy with what they're doing. I do have faith in the developers, you know, contrary to some people's belief, you know, I do. But I think that color wise, it might be a slight misstep, I feel. Looking at it, it's a little bit, it's almost like they've designed the level with a different day in mind. You know, like it's very nighttime. It's almost like, looks like nighttime, night brick. It looks like almost like a night brick. And then when they've changed the skybox and stuff like that, it looks like it's like the day's overcast or something like that. So I think that's a mistake. It may look a little bit too samey, you know, with the grass and stuff like that, to the original world, if you look up at the top section over there. So I'm not too sure how to properly feel about it. I don't hate it, but I do reckon that they could change it and make it just a little bit more whimsical, because I think that with something like this in Haunted Towers, that's a concern. Like, I want Haunted Towers to really maintain that Haunted Towers feel, with all the you know, brought to life knight armor and stuff like that, knight and shining armor. I think that that's a really important thing that they need to keep when they're actually like, you know, when they designed the level. So looking at the outside, you can see that there is the cage in the background. So in the original demo that you couldn't see any of the, I keep saying demo, but I meant trailer. Let's have a look. We got, see, look over there. So you can see the cage. See, look, there's the cage. Yeah, so that's cool. But just look at how much more dreamy the original version looks. And I would say that's not a thing where it's a I would not argue that is how it's a limitation. I would say that it's a genuine attempt at making it look a certain way. So I reckon that in terms of the color theory and stuff like that, I would say they are incorrect with how they would perceive this level from the bit we've seen. I'm curious to actually see Lofty Castle. But what I do like and what I will give them is that, and you can actually almost see one of the enemies at the back there. I should probably try and pause it and zoom in, but I actually genuinely don't know how to do that, because this was a nightmare to get even set up. I got a haircut, ridiculously short cut. This is the shortest it's ever been. This is the shortest it's ever been in public as well. I've never ever broadcast with this short hair in my life. I've actually never had this short hair except for when I was born. So I'm waiting for it to grow back and stuff like that. It'll look great when it grows back, hopefully. But what I really do like, as I'll get back to Clifftown in a sec, I will talk about Clifftown. What I really do like about this is I'm actually a fan of the enemies. I think they've done a good job with the enemies here. Let's the old devils. I think that they've done a good job kind of making them look cheeky and sort of cool. The ones in the original game are a little bit more red, really deep red. These guys are a little bit more sort of subdued in their redness, a bit more of a purple red. But I like them. I like their expression. It's cheeky. It's weird. Avril, yes, another Adelaidean. Thank you for it is a haircut. It is a haircut. It's a very, very noticeable haircut. I will it'll grow back. It'll look mint in a couple of weeks. Oh, now what I need to pay attention to is it's not letting us cut. I'm trying to see if there's anything more. The pool of water's fine, no problem with that. Fan of the enemies, and a lot of people have been talking about the enemies not as positively, over the last month or so. The Norks and stuff like that have come under scrutiny, and I think that they've actually done a really good job with these enemies here. I think, again, the animation pointing at them are very cool. I'm curious about Magellans says, is it the Nightmare Dogs and Dark Passage. I mean, that's going to be freaking great. That is going to be excellent. I think that they have to nail them as well. They have to get that right. They cannot mess that up, because there'll just be too many people angry. I'd say Dark Passage is such a crucial level for getting right. And and Orcs and Jacques has to not be afraid to be goofy as fuck. Jacques is the level, the weird way they yell out and stuff. You cannot compromise on that. I did hear that Jordan Fringe, actually, when he met Toys for Bob, he actually spoke to some of the guys there, and he personally brought up, which I thought was great, the voices of the egg thieves, and saying that the pitch is slightly too low, which is, of course, a nitpick, but I think a positive nitpick doesn't really negatively affect them by being, okay, well, it doesn't sound like the original. I think it's actually a good thing. So I'm glad he's brought that up. I think that that's a really good thing, and I think that, people bringing up these kind of nitpicking is good. I'm on the side more where it's some things I don't genuinely believe need to be nitpicked to the level that they have been, right? Certain things it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter. But I would say when it comes to things like that, little things like that, which, I think it's fine to bring it up, especially if you have that open dialogue. I did hear, there was something I was reading about, actually, where they were talking about how, actually what happened was, they were actually watching comparison footage, Toys for Bob were actually watching, they were saying that they've been watching and looking at the PS1 to PS4. So there's probably maybe 30-40% chance they've seen one of the videos I've done about that, so that's pretty great. So I'm glad that they're looking at that. So, you know, as long as you frame your criticism in the right way, that's the only way to get people to respond to it. Yeah, you cannot sell them, fuck you, your game sucks, you know, like this is shit, fix this now. If you do that, no one is going to listen, right? It will never ever work that way. But if you are constructive and say, hey, I feel like this needs improvement, it looked like this in the original, it works with this because of color theory, blah blah blah, you know, whatever. Yeah. So that's of course very important. It's just the way in which you phrase it. Now, let's talk about Clifftown as well. After this one last shot of this, and then I might, this won't be a super long stream. It's more, I might not even keep it up. I'll see how it goes. Like, I'll see what kind of reception it gets, and then so here is Clifftown. Clifftown is always, it's a fantastic level. It looks like it's a different time of the day. A bit like, look, the problem is, again, when you're comparing PS1 to PS4, the way in which lighting is done in modern games, it is, I'd say in many ways it's a disadvantage, is the fact that you have to, it's almost like everything has to be illuminated. You need to use natural light and or created light sources. I don't know how to describe it. I did like in my media course, I actually did something about that, where you had to like create like a light sources. It's like in Maya, which is the blend of like it was an Autodesk program, right? And some of you engineers have probably used some Autodesk programs if you guys work in engineering or do an engineering degree, or anything in, you know, CGI or whatever. Anyway, so that was one thing I noticed, is that you have to create a lot of these light sources, and that's why things look a lot darker in these versions. And that's to me, a problem with modern games. So you look at Spyro here, it doesn't have to worry so much about the lighting. It has vertex lighting and colors and stuff like that, shading. It has all of that, but the difference is that it doesn't have to worry about it as much, because look in the background there, the draw distance, you can still see everything fine. Whereas look at this bit of footage, you'll see that it's quite dark later on there. What I really do like is that they've got the color they've got the color of the what's it called, the lava perfectly. I think that's great, and they need to do that. And I think that they probably need to do that as well with the what's the color for what is it for? Magic Crafters. So for Magic Crafters, that is crucial as well. I reckon getting the colors of that lava to be exactly right. I think that, you know, it's crucial, because it's so memorable, Spyro 1, because of the fact that you can't actually swim. So they've made all these pools of water look kind of dangerous, in a sense that they're just like completely unnatural. It's like you would never even think that there's even water. You know, like you'd be like, is that water? No, it's not. I think it's funny when the gems explode into Spyro when he collects them. Let's see. The Matadors here, covering up, and boom. They go quite fast. Some people have talked about some people have talked about the hitboxes. That someone was pointing out how the neck sort of extends in a really weird way. It's pretty cool, but weird as well. It's like it shouldn't happen, but it's probably just them tinkering out all the hitbox stuff, which is what are we saying? I'm just reading the chat as well, seeing what you guys are saying. 25 likes and 1 dislike, one little shit that has to ruin everything, but I'm sure he's gone right now. See you later, Lennon. Just think how the coloring and lighting will be in Narcis's level. Yeah, I hope not too dark, you know, like I hope not just so dark that it's like, you know, Game of Thrones season 6, or actually anything like Game of Thrones is just like ridiculously dark. All these shows do that, where they're like trying to obscure stuff, and maybe it's even a CGI thing, they're trying to cover it up or something, you know. The neck will be fixed, Jay, don't worry. The neck will definitely be fixed. Definitely. The enemies seem too easy. Well, yeah, that's the interesting thing, is that some of the stuff doesn't bonk like it used to. You know, like where you'd hit something and you'd bounce back, you'd have a bounce back. Hopefully they do add that into everything. I know that in one of the versions of Stonehill, they actually didn't do that. Hello from Germany. Hello from Australia. World Cup, am I right? What was it? What was the other one? Yeah. So those guys, they never did that, but hopefully I'm trying to think if there's any other enemies that did that. Don't know. What's up, CMD? Yeah, I don't know actually. I'm trying to think of any other enemies. There are some more ones that bounce back that are meant to be. Gem sounds, yeah. I know we've talked about that before, but can't beat the original sounds. The Spyro 2 and 1 and 3. They're all good. They're all excellent, if you ask me. I think that it's a hard thing to emulate, but it's like they got the dragon sound right, or they just ripped it. So you might as well just use the exact same sounds. Like that's always what I've been saying. I've said this to like Myths Awakened developers, and I've said this to Spring Savannah people, like anyone to do with like Spyro fan games. Like, and this is weird, right? This is actually kind of a bizarre thing to happen. Is speaking of fan games. Thank you, James. I know that Fringy got to me a lot earlier, but he gets to do it early. He's fucking American, so damn it. Prix says, would you like an invite to? Thank you very much for £2, you generous soul. You're a very generous guy. Would like an invite to Josh Gaming's Discord. I know that a lot of those guys have Discords, like Josh Gaming and stuff like that. It's not that I'm like don't want to join or anything like that, but I don't want to like disrupt anything, because I know that like they've all got their own discussion, they've got their own fandom. With our fan sort of like a fan base is a fan. If I have a fan base, sort of it's like it doesn't really it doesn't cross over in the way that I thought it would. I thought it would cross over a little bit more, but yeah, it surprisingly didn't. I'll get back to that a bit later. We can talk more about the Spyro community later on if you want. But what it was interesting is like I said this thing about Spyro fan games. I literally said something along the lines of, I'm a big fan of them, using the assets from those games, to make their own fan games better. And a bunch of people got into sort of a bit of a righteous, like, oh, you can't be talking about, you can't be, you're advocating piracy or whatever, stuff like that. It's like anything to do with a fan game is inherently not legal. It's not even that it's illegal. It's just it's a real grey area of what you can really do, and different companies portray it in different ways. There is nothing wrong with using a Spyro model that you've be able to creatively rip from a video game. Like, it's impressive alone that you can even do that. I mean, you've got Climb companies on like the same level as like the Toys of Bob team in terms of extracting stuff. In fact, I'd argue probably done better with the World Viewer. But point is, using the original assets, I think, is a really strong suit about these fan games, because it's the iconic nature of them, and then it's what you do with them and what makes them unique. It's tantamount to sampling. Like a lot of people, they criticize sampling. They say, oh, sampling is just lazy. There's no talent in sampling, and it's like JP8K can tell you that is not true. That is not true. There is definitely talent in sampling. There is definitely ability in tracks that are just sampled. Like, it's definitely a thing. And I feel the same way about like a Spyro fan game, and therefore feel the same way about, going back to Reignited, feel the same way about them just straight ripping the original sounds. A lot of these sounds are all sound bank stuff anyway. I love Myths Awaken. It's sound bank shit. Like, it literally is. Like there are so many classic sounds that you hear in video games that are in multiple games, even down to Stuart Copeland's soundtrack. Stuart Copeland's soundtrack would be almost nothing if it wasn't, especially the later games, would be nothing if not for some of the samples that he used. That's simple as that. Like, it's simple as that. Like, I mean, you can hear same like tribal noises in Copeland's soundtrack in Spyro 3, like in Bentley's Outpost. Then you hear this exact same thing in Muppet Monster Adventure. That sampling analogy doesn't work. Well, there's an additional layer of legality on it. If you don't agree with that, there is an additional layer of legality when it comes to fan games in general. So I think that, yeah, it is more complicated than that inherently, but the argument is more saying that I think it's okay if fan games are doing that because they're already, not the validity of it. Yeah, exactly. The ethical nature of the ethical nature of it is already complicated in the first place. But I maintain that fan game projects should not be shut down, provided that they're not trying to sell it and make thousands of dollars from it, or even really, yeah. Although I guess, yeah, there's arguments about many things. But going back to Clifftown. Again, I think that in the modern day or something like that, it's like when you look at the skyboxes, I think they've improved the skyboxes, and they have explicitly talked about how they did take into account what people said about the skyboxes early on. I think that they find it truly hard to commit to, they find it hard to commit to making it like a really, really vibrant skybox like that. Right? See how it looks more like it's more white at the top. They just can't help but make it more realistic. And I think I will always prefer the original Spyro skyboxes. There's like literally nothing that will change that. I don't think for me, I will always prefer them. So that's interesting. There's just like a sun up the top there as well. I just think, making it a little bit darker, maybe, I don't know if they could have found a way to make different lights or something like that, or hang more thing. But then if they hung more flame everywhere, like fire, then people would be like, oh, you're doing too much of this flaming, like there's too much like natural light sources. That's not what it's like. That's not what it's like in this. In the original version. So there's no fire bits there. I think that have we seen any of Dry Canyon yet? I wonder what the time of day will be there. That'll be very interesting. Alpine Ridge we've seen. I'm just trying to go through some of the levels that we haven't actually seen yet. I know there was a Clifftown screenshot that came out recently, which was pretty cool. Do you think that Nasty Nog resembles an orc or a gnome more? Jeez. I am woefully unfamiliar with like fantasy folklore and stuff like that. Like, I mean, he's probably more of an orc, isn't he? Really? I'd say more of an orc. He looks, especially in his battle position. Jake Reels is going dark as what's hip right now. Exactly. Yeah, brought that up briefly before. That's kind of the problem. Yeah, it's like that. Like everything's like dark and stuff like that. And I mean, look at like the kind of stuff you got in like The Last of Us and stuff. Like, I mean, it's just everything has to be dark and mysterious and stuff like that. But here, overall, I do like it. I do like the cliff face and stuff like that. And also the quality is not super great, but I do not like it how it has to be so much more dark. You need to still have the vibrancy, and I think you can use the skybox as a form of light as well. Why not do that? So yes, overall, it looks good. That's what I have to say about it. I'm happy with how things look. Notice they also changed the gem color. I wonder how much feedback they got about the font. Like look at the font there, how it look at that. Let's see, is it gonna go up? Yeah, okay, barely did. Yeah, it just sort of jumps to the next level. Nowhere near as good. The original font stuff like that is fantastic. So yes, and to clarify, yes, they have changed the Lofty Castle color overall from the original trailer. It was far darker. It was like at nighttime. Now, let's see, stretch animation. Yeah, I have commented on that. I'd say that's a glitch that will be fixed. Will be fixed. Don't worry about that. Do you think Scorch from Spyro 2 will be different? Don't want it to be. Really do not want it to be because of, I mean, if you've seen my LP, you know that I literally like go on about how there's like this political meaning behind this level and stuff like that, and it's like, maybe they weren't the bad, maybe the secret agents, Handel and Greta, maybe they weren't the good guys, maybe they were invading a foreign land. The name of one of the guys was Bomo, which the problem is, it's like, it's not even offensive, but people will find a way to make it offensive. That's the problem. They'll view it as a strictly race thing, rather than the childish innocence that it actually was. More just like, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to say it without sounding like insensitive. You don't want to be like, oh, you don't want to imply this about this certain country or environment, but I genuinely don't believe that there was any ill intent with Insomniac when it came to naming Bomo. And Romeo and Juliet, they better not change that. They better just use the same voice, because I guess they got Spyro 3's voice actor for Moneybags back, because that was Spyro 2's voice actor, I believe. So that's interesting. Now let's see if we can. Just having a look on the screen here, seeing what you guys are saying. This is Zephyr. I was talking about Zephyr, of course. I'll wrap up the stream pretty soon. Like, it's just sort of a short one. We've already been going for 30 damn minutes talking about this. 30 minutes. Let me see if I can. I'm just going to try and have a look and see if I can get something open, get something up here, so we can actually have a look. I want to break free. Okay. I want to break free. Hold on. Oh, and it's frozen as it loads. 32 gig RAM. 3.6 bloody. I could brag about this PC forever, but yeah, still things freeze. Oh, there you go. Wait, no. Just hold up. OMG, you and Angus fighting about Scorch. Oh yeah, that's classic. Yeah, I'm glad you remember that. That is an all-time classic. That is an all-time classic. He's an idiot, and I maintain that he was wrong the whole time, and always will be, because it's Angus. Okay, Spyro. Let's get Spyro the Dragon. Let's open up the NTSC version. Let's see. Oop. Oh man, look at that. Holy shit, lads. We've got some Spyro up here. Let's see if we got some save states. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? Okay, let's see if I can. Yes, got it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, which is a bit weird, I'm going to get to Clifftown and actually show off Clifftown. Okay, how's that sound? What's that spell? Loads of money. Let's move that over. Oh, live Spyro out of nowhere. Spyro from out of nowhere. It's the Randy Orton of. Okay, so let's just get to this. Oh shit! A donation. Coca B fan, a loyal subscriber, says, "Good to see you. Thank you very much for £2 as usual." I don't know what time it is for you over there, but it might be the morning, which is nice. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's skedaddle. Oh, you know what? That's interesting. No audio is coming from that. Let's see if I can. Properties. There we go. All right. Let's have a look. This just turned into a Spyro stream. So if you guys have seen the images, we've done it to death. Oh god, I'm actually playing it on the OBS stream, which is technically a delay. So I've got to look at that properly. How many we got? 14, 4. Okay, 9. Okay. Let's get to the next one. Let's get to Clifftown so we can actually compare some stuff, okay? That's the aim. That's the aim of this stream. Comparing shit. Comparing shiz. Okay, and then I'll read some comments and we'll start doing some Q&A stuff, okay? Look at you. Okay. Alright. So guys, get your questions ready. And we shall do a quick little Q&A. Can be about anything. Mostly. You know, it can be basically about anything. Although I'd prefer keep it sort of mainly Spyro if that's relevant. And if I miss the question, just spam it again, because if you guys do end up like saying all this shit. Wait a minute, how many? What? Did I miss something? Marco. Peacekeepers. Okay. Probably want to add a no. They're not going to add a spring world. They will not add spring savannah or anything like that. They will not do that. 100%. They will not add another world into Spyro 2. Just to kind of like burst the bubble a little bit. That will not happen. I can basically guarantee that will not happen. Yeah. So let's go to Clifftown. Get yourself a warm coffee to keep warm in this Adelaide weather. Avril Prime. Thank you, Avril. Much appreciated. From one Adelaide brethren to another. I will literally spend that straight away on coffee. There's a really good coffee place I go to. Shout out to Jerry down in my house called Coffee Time. If you're in Adelaide and you ever heard of Coffee Time. Yeah, Coca B fan with the animation. That's what happens if you sponsor. So any sponsor, you get some emotes. You get to spam, which is a good excuse. Now, yeah. So thank you, Avril. I will spend that on a coffee tomorrow. I will tell someone that the coffee that I bought was paid for by you. And if you're ever down there, we can happily have a chat. Alright, okay, so what do we got here? Do you think there's any reasonable chance that Toys Bob knows about or would implement dragonfly eggs? Well, I hate to be like, I am a Spyro god. I hate to do that. but I would say I probably would know about the dragonfly eggs more than they would. I would have more knowledge about how that happened, because it was something that, like, literally it wasn't even really discussed online until, I'm pretty sure it was like 2011 was like the first time I actually ever saw anything about it, right? It was super kind of like obscure. So honestly, unless they've really combed through all the code of the Japanese version, which I doubt they have, they're probably not going to, unfortunately, going to include them. But I think that they should include the dragonfly eggs, because the dragonfly eggs are freaking awesome. Now, it's actually quite vibrant here. It's actually more vibrant on my thing than it is even though it's like something to do with the color range or something. Yeah. Okay, so what do you got here? Do you think they give the balloonist a voice? I think that's a definite possibility, Dad Shoes. Definite possibility. Emma, JB, do you stream on Twitch? I do not. I just stream on YouTube. I've considered streaming on Twitch mainly because of the fact that, like, you know, with PayPal donation, which sounds like greedy, but, you know, I know some people prefer to donate through that as opposed to credit cards. So people have always thrown that off because they're like, oh, you know, I would do this if you were on Twitch, but we'll see. I do stream some of my speedrun stuff on Twitch, like for like tournaments and stuff. Okay, the Looney Tunes have, the original Norks have a Looney Tunes feel to them. Will the new ones have that feel? They could. I mean, we haven't seen all of them, you know. We haven't seen all of them yet. What do you think of the more ambient direction for the music, i.e. Toasty, DLC Homeworld? Toasties I thought was okay. I thought they did a decent job with Toasty's atmosphere. Some of the other levels, you know, I think it's like B-roll music. Do I think the music is good so far overall? I would say it's not even in the same category of the original one, because they've chosen not to use any of the sounds, which are very iconic, and like recreating them kind of sounds a little bit too MIDI. Sounds like too much, you know, too much MIDI. Do you get what I mean? Like it's a hard thing to, it's a hard balance, but I think that, yeah, it doesn't quite work without some of those sounds. Think they'll keep the double jump glitch? No way they keep it, because they have to code it in, because they're redoing everything from scratch. Speedrunners will be very upset about that, but I don't really have much sympathy. As much as I love the double jump, it kind of makes Spyro more difficult again to actually complete normally, and I'm sure we'll find some of our own exploits. Would you like to see a new alternate timeline of games after Reignited that is more loyal? Yeah, well, I guess I'd make Reignited the main timeline. You know, that's what I'd do. I'd like cut them out of Skylanders, just not even pretend that doesn't even exist, and then go from there. Do you have a favourite Spyro 2 level? Mine is Breeze Harbor. I don't have a favourite Spyro 2 level, actually, believe it or not. It's too hard to pick. It's too hard to pick. Gear the Dragon original OST or greatest hits? No way they don't do greatest hits as well. They will get it. They'll put every track in it, I'm sure. Well, they better. I mean, that'd be a freaking disaster if they didn't. Okay. What else? I'm trying to think. You guys just keep saying. Not a fan of the Addison's World music. Love to see some new stages that were cut from the originals. There were no levels actually cut from the originals per se. There were sections, you know, like the Dino Mines secret boss area, like you guys have like we've talked about. Yeah, I think that the censorship as well, that's another whole topic. I really hope that they don't censor. Yeah, like we're talking about that with we're talking about that with, you know, potentially with what's the level called, Scorch, but you know, like Twilight Harbor, I think they've got rid of the guns, which I think is, I don't think they need to do it. I think that they're being a bit overly cautious. But yeah, what I've always loved about Clifftown, this thing over here, beautiful. This is gonna look great in the Reignited Trilogy, from the little we've seen of it. Yeah, I wish they didn't wallow down the engineering music. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's not as much oomph to it. There's not enough like guitar or something, you know, strum and sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I don't know. I think that there's time though. There's always time. There's always time to go give our good friend Zagir a call. That is Mr. Modes. Thank you to 121 people here, and thank you to anyone that donated as well. That is genuinely appreciated. I don't ask for anything, but I absolutely love it when anyone sends anything, or even a message. It's very much appreciated, and it directly, you know, I tell you that, like, I directly put a lot of the money I earned from work and stuff like that into the RAM I bought, the extra 16 gig RAM, I bought that basically from, I worked extra that week, did some extra stuff, did a stream and stuff like that. So the money, I guess, doesn't just go towards coffees, although I will happily use the money for coffee if you explicitly ask me to. Yeah, I'll use it on that. Are you planning to do an LP for each new game? Says Avril. Hell yes, I am. Hell yes. For each game. What else we got here? Oh, Ashley Neko. Sup. Shame they made the Sun's Way smaller remaster. A lot of questions. Opinion on Myths Awaken. Big fan of Myths Awaken. I kind of like speak to side readers about ideas and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm on the team, but I kind of am like PR, if that's like an official job. So I'm just looking through some more questions here. Censoring is shit. What do you think about Toys for All adding the roll? The roll was originally in Spyro 2. I'll show you in a demo. I'll do a demo video later on. You can see it. Al's done a video about it actually. You can roll in a demo version of Spyro. So I have zero problem with that. Zero problem with that. I think it's a great thing. Why not? Doesn't hurt. Should they make the dragons gender neutral? Good question. I don't know if do they need to. I guess it wouldn't really be a problem. I don't think it would be. I just don't think it doesn't really matter. I think either way it's fine. Is the Tiki Lodge a bathhouse? It could be an onsen. Could be an onsen. Moneybags is just scam artist. Is there going to be a Switch version? Again, Mr. Fringe talked about that. How they talked about that, and apparently it's all to do with optimization, right? It's all about optimization and creating the platform, creating the game on the PS4 and Xbox One platform is far more, what's the word there? Where am I? It's far more beneficial for them to get the games right on the established platforms, because the Switch is different. Switch is an entirely different ballgame. You remember that Toys R Us are actually working on a Switch version of Crash, right? So they're essentially getting better at using that platform. So it's a good thing. It's actually quite a good thing what's happening with that. I think that it means that they're going to be, by the time they do get to a Switch version, it's going to be better. It's going to be perfect. Okay, yep. I'm going to say something that I don't want to spark a debate, and I'm not going to say anything, but objectively there are more than two genders. I'm just going to point that out. Like in terms of medical stuff, you actually can't say that there's two. There's yeah. Well, I guess it's a whole different point entirely, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're trying to say, but it doesn't matter. Like gender neutral, I mean, gee, it's no harm. Like just don't worry about it. Okay, let's go to Lofty Castle. Okay, let's do it around this corner, and then we'll wrap it up. Just because I want to show off the bits. I beat Crystal Flight. Do you think the Door and Artisans will be some secret area? Could see it being a bonus area, kind of like in Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, I think they'll be using greatest hits music. I cannot wait for the sequels. Yes, everyone's keen for Spyro 2 and 3. It's going to be great. It'd be awesome if there are girl dragons, though. Not all dragons are male. Exactly, that's right. I mean, hey, and I would have an intersex a dragon. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure some people find an excuse for there to be something wrong with that. But look at the skybox here, right? Absolutely gorgeous. Now I see why they kind of. It's almost like Toys R Us got a little bit confused though, because look at this. It almost looks like different times of day, depending on the level. You go up here, it's all nice and dark, and then it crescendos down, and it's just gorgeous. It is just gorgeous, and you have to appreciate this. How they have sex with no female dragon? I don't know. Emmanuel just comments gender. It's very poignant. So this is the area that we're talking about. Oh look, boom. See, look at that. See, you can't kill him. Ready? Okay, let's see if I can avoid one. See if I can avoid one with the roll. Ready? Oh shit. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, eat shit, motherfucker. Oh, good try. I'm gonna try again. Ready? Off. See, you got caught. Yeah. So this level, I mean, I don't even think that no matter what they do, Toy Story Rob can't beat this level in terms of just the beauty of it. I mean, look at the waterfall and just all the colors just pop off so well for its time. That's why I laugh when people are like, oh, you know, like Spyro's very dated. It's like, yeah, I mean, but the color theory stuff for Spyro is not dated at all. In fact, you'd argue it's better than a lot of modern games for sure. Reducing a science-based villain would be a good idea since all the original 3 games had wizards as enemies. Good point. Good point. I would like to see that. I would definitely like to see that. They know how to port games to Switch, Skylanders, Imaginators. Good point. Good point. So they have done it before. That's right, with Imaginators. Noted flop in the series. But I guess the better you get with that kind of technology. Skylanders is sort of different than Spyro and Crash, so I think it's good. Devil Dogs in HD, definitely ready. Yo, Crystal, you helped me a lot on Hero's Tale. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, love the roll. The colours in here, amazing. So it's not difficult to do this, you know, like it's not difficult to do this, you know, a lot of the time, like what they've got to emulate this. It's that sometimes they choose not to, and sometimes it's like for the better, and sometimes for the worse. But I'd say that mostly it's good to follow what you've got here. In the example of like Beastmakers, I genuinely like that kind of weird blue effect they've got in the Beastmakers level. I think that that actually looks amazing. So it's like not everything they do that's different is like inherently bad. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, in terms of Lofty Castle, make it look more exactly like this. I think is not a negative at all. Do you hope that Reignited Trilogy is a success? Yes, I do. Anything that brings the original Spyro back, I will support, basically. Okay. I agree with the old skyboxes, but I think it's hard to do better with updated graphics. It could be blocky and wonky to the old ones. No, it does. It does make sense. That does make sense. The skyboxes would be one of the most difficult things to get right for them. That, as I've said sort of before, it's like, yeah, the crazy colors of them. Yeah, it isn't inherently would be difficult. Yes, I do empathize with that for sure. I'm fucking it. Look, see, it gets dark down there. Perfect. Anyway, it was so simple. Yeah. What levels do you not like that much? That's a good question. That's a genuinely good question. I don't know. Misty Bog me a bit of a pain in the ass, but like, don't hate it. Don't know. I reckon that's about it. What is Ripto? What is dead? Oh, I was gonna say, what is Ripto may never die. What is dead may never die. All right. Let's see what else anyone's saying. I think we're doing 120. The peak viewership, and I'm gonna have to tell you guys goodbye. I hope you enjoyed that stream. If you are watching this on the VOD, hello to you. If you are watching this now, you've just tuned in, go back and watch it over and over and over again, because no, I'm just kidding. I'm really glad that you guys are here. I have to love you and leave you. I will speak to you all very, very soon. Thanks to anyone that donated as well. Thanks to everyone that contributed to the discussion. Leave a like on the video if you want, because that way it will start appearing more. We'll be able to, there you go, look at that green. Look at the green popping under my face. That way we'll start appearing more, and we'll get more and more people in this fantastic little community here. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. And let's just, for one last time, put the video back on. There you go. This is what you guys came here for. You came here to see this. One last thought on it. Yep. Make it lighter. Make it a bit more vibrant like this, and I think that you'll have a lot of happy fans. Someone says, bye dad. If I was old enough to be your dad, buddy, it would be concerning. As much as I wish I was a 40-year-old man with a big gut. I'm only one of those things. Well, average gut, whatever. We can analyze my gut later. Alright, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.